If you're a dirt biker, then you know that wheelies are one of the coolest things that you can do on your bike. But if you're new to dirt biking, then you might not know how to wheel a dirt bike. In this video, I'll show you how to wheel a dirt bike on your first try. So whether you're just starting out or you're trying to up your game, keep watching for tips on how to wheelie like a pro. What you'll need. Firstly, before you even think about trying to wheel a dirt bike, you're going to need some equipment. If you don't already have your own bike and helmet, both of which I recommend that you get, then it's time to buy them. Once you've purchased all the necessary equipment, head outside and make sure that everything fits correctly. Unfortunately, if your bike is the wrong size or your helmet doesn't fit correctly, you won't be able to perform a smooth wheelie when you try to lift up the front of your bike. Your dirt bike tire will shake and wobble around, which can cause serious damage to both yourself and your dirt bike. Secondly, even though it may not seem like it, you will need to practice. No one is born with the innate ability to know how to wheel a dirt bike smoothly, so if you really want to learn, go out and start practicing. Tips for getting the wheelie down on your first try. Disclaimer: doing a perfect wheelie on your first try is a lot more difficult than it seems. If you don't nail it on the first go, then do not give up. Find a long, straight area that is flat. Riding in second or third gear is a good place to start. Stand up and slightly bend your knees. Lean back gently by lowering your hips. Hesitate for a moment before speeding up. Maintain a light touch on the throttle and find a long, straight area that is flat. Assuming that you already wore your safety gear, you need to find the right place to do your wheelie training. The easier you make things for yourself, the better. So, your best bet is to find a long, flat area that's free of rocks and any other debris that can get in the way of your learning how to wheel a dirt bike. Riding in second or third gear is a good place to start. It's best to start off practicing your wheelies by riding in second or third gear. This is because the power that comes from these gears is smaller and tends to be more manageable than first or fourth gear, which can make it easier for you to learn how to wheel a dirt bike correctly. Stand up and slightly bend your knees. Once you're in a safe, flat area that's perfect for practicing wheelies, it's time to get off the bike and stand up. I recommend standing up because this is going to provide a bit more stability when you actually try to lift up the front of your bike. In addition, be sure to bend your knees slightly, as this will allow you to better balance yourself and perform the wheelie. Lean back gently by lowering your hip. After standing up and bending your knees, it's time to lower your body down a little bit more. By leaning back slightly, only very slightly though, with your head over your rear tire, you should be able to get the wheelie down on your first try. Hesitate for a moment before speeding up. Once you start leaning back, make sure to wait a second before you put on some speed. How fast you need to go will depend on how low you leaned back initially. Otherwise, all of the weight in your bike could shift too quickly and cause the back tire to lift off of the ground before you're ready. Maintain a light touch on the throttle. When I first tried learning how to wheelie a dirt bike, my main problem was that I would apply too much throttle way too quickly, causing the front tire to lift up into the air as soon as I started leaning back. A good way to avoid this is by only giving the dirt bike a very light touch on the throttle from start to finish. Once you've gone over everything mentioned above, it's time to try out your new skills. Be sure to give yourself plenty of room and remember that perfecting a wheelie can take a lot of time, so don't give up if you do not get it right away. Tips for getting the wheelie down on your first try. If you are having trouble with this step, in particular, my advice would be to relax and try again later. If you are straining too hard when trying to lift the front of the bike off of the ground, you might just create a mess that is actually harder to fix than if you were to give up on this step for the time being. There are a few things that can help you learn how to wheelie a dirt bike more easily. Use your weight to your advantage. Try leaning back by shifting your weight in the opposite direction of the bike. This will help to keep everything stable while you're learning how to wheel a dirt bike. Turn your weight into an asset. If you lean back too much, your weight will be thrown in front of your bike and could cause it to crash down on its front tire. Try moving your body slightly toward the direction of the bike by bending your knees and moving forward. Make sure to lean a little further back than you think you need to though, as this will keep the balance of the dirt bike under control. Advanced techniques for experienced riders. Once you get the hang of how to wheel a dirt bike, there are some more advanced techniques that you can try out that might be better for experienced riders. Here are just a few of them. Use the engine's power to your advantage. Once you're starting to feel confident with your skills, it could be time to train yourself on how to wheelie a dirt bike while using the engine's power more liberally. If you've ever done any speedway racing, this will feel very familiar to you. Remember to keep the front end down. Some people make the mistake of letting the front end go too high while they are trying to get their wheelies down on their first tries. If this happens, remember that you can kick your feet back and forth to try and control the front of your bike as much as possible until it loses all momentum. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Once you feel like you've gotten the hang of how to wheelie a dirt bike, make sure to keep your eyes on the horizon at all times. If you look down, your front end will most likely start to lift up. In conclusion, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to keep trying. You will not master how to wheel a dirt bike overnight, but with enough dedication and patience, you'll get it down in no time. Doing a wheelie is similar to learning to swim. No matter how much you read about it or watch someone do it in front of you, it will not give you the skills until you start doing it yourself.